remember there was a time I went to this church, man, and they were really religious. They were really like right wing. I think they were either evangelical or Pentecostal, maybe both or a combination of the two. But anyway, that's besides the point. I went to this church that was really religious and Pentecostal, and I just started realizing, man, this is not the church I want to go to. But let me back up a little bit, man, right? So I stayed at this church for about a year. A former friend of mine said, "Hey man, we think you'd be great for youth ministry, man. You know, you have that attitude about you. You stand firm on the Lord. You really follow God. We see the fruits of your labor, and God has been calling me and this, that, and the other." I should have just really paid attention to the red flags, but I didn't. So what ended up happening is I go to this church. I stayed there for about a year or so, and I started realizing the following. They was way too spiritual. They were way too conservative. They had a lot of racial undertones, and there was some systemic racism going on. But me, being a former people pleaser and a former nice guy, I said, you know what? I'll just let it go and I'll pray for them. What I started to realize is this is that there are people in this world who are very evil. More on that to like the later parts in this story. But I remember there was one situation. I was playing soccer with a couple people, and this white dude, he went out here and he said, "Hey," and no, what happened? No, let me back up a little bit. I remember one time I was playing soccer with this dude, right? Playing soccer. Start that over. I remember one time I was playing soccer, right? I was playing soccer with the kids, playing soccer with the other young adult. Yeah, I remember I was playing soccer with everybody, right? There was a couple of adults there, a couple kids there. It was a youth night, either on like a Tuesday or a Thursday. I can't remember. But I remember this one white dude who's older. He went out here and said the following. What he said was this verbatim. Now, let me give you some context. This black kid, he said, you know what? Hey, man, I don't get along with nobody. Like, I'm dealing with racism, you know? And of course, I'm sitting down here just trying to be empathetic and just listen and take into heed what's going on. This one white dude, no exaggeration, no exaggeration. He just says, so and so, it's the color of your skin. Y'all ever have a moment where like you hear something so crazy, you just be like, I know he didn't just say that. He come up to me and said, no, 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 I'm just, I don't remember what he said, to be honest with you. I don't remember what he said. I was so caught off guard, I didn't know what to say. So it was my fault. I'll take responsibility. I should have checked him right there. I didn't. That was my fault. Because back into what I said, I wanted to keep the peace. AKA, I wanted to be a people pleaser and I did not want to be a disruptor. I had to learn in the future, it went to bite me. More on that for another day. But anyway, here's what I'm trying to say, right? This guy was racist. This guy had a very filthy mouth on him. And this guy tried to honestly hide behind spirituality and hide behind being a Christian for just being a bad person. And that's when I come to find out that many Christians in the church, whether it's evangelical or Pentecostal, the truth about them is this. They like to hide behind Jesus for just being a garbage human being. All right, stay tuned with me. We're going to be doing part two. Part two was this. We would go on, what it called now, them little retreats with just the adults, like the leaders of the youth ministry. And I had to share a room with this dude. When I said I had to pray to God that I don't put my hands on him, because I gotta use wisdom on what I say, because I'm on TikTok. I had to use wisdom. I said, God, help me so I don't take care of my business. If you catch my drift, if you pick up what I'm dropping. Because like I said, I told God, I don't want to bang on nobody no more. God, I don't want to be no hood rat. God, I just want to be a regular man. I just want to be a man of God. I want to change. I just want to follow Jesus. But I've also been talking to God lately and say, you know, God, you got to help me not to be passive. So as I continue my story, the brother go up being smart at the mouth again. I'm sitting down here. It's me. It's the white dude and two Puerto Rican women. We sitting down here talking, having a conversation. Now, all of a sudden, The Puerto Rican lady, he look at the Puerto Rican lady. The white dude look at the Puerto Rican lady. And the white dude, he said, so and so, you looking very African American. Mind you, I'm right there. The Puerto Rican woman gonna look at me and say, what do you think? Do I look black like you? And I'm sitting down here and I'm like, I got no comment. I got no comment. I sit down here, you black like me, we make facial expressions. I made the following facial expression. I went like this. And now he over here being racist again. So again, I do my best to just not say nothing. But now my blood is boiling. Because I learned this about myself. I got a bad tendency of letting stuff go. So you probably asking me, why'd you let it go? And why'd you say something again? I have no excuses. I was being a coward. That's it. I was trying not to avoid conflict. I wanted to put my hands around his, you know what? I wanted to take care of my business. I'll say it like that. But I didn't want to get into a confrontation. I didn't know how to verbalize what I was feeling. That's the best thing I can really give to you. Yet again, he done did this. Now I'll give you a disclaimer. Not everybody at the church is racist, obviously. But if you're dealing with this kind of racism in the church, that's what's going on in your mind. Okay, for the most part. So yeah, I'll give you part 3. Here's part 3 of my story. So, now I'm doing community outreach. And mind you, I boiled up everything. I'm bottled up inside. I'm ready to rage out. I don't want nothing to do with these people. But since I'm a born again Christian and I don't really know much about Christianity, and I left the faith so many years ago that I took my brain and I just threw it in the garbage. So I don't put myself in this whole situation by over spiritualizing things. So if you go on my page, from time to time, I talk about using common sense and logic for this exact reason, to help people. Not to save people, but to help people. Okay? That's why I do this. All right, so back to my story. We're doing community outreach in the hood. And this is when I realized there are some Christians that just don't understand human nature. There's Christians out here, they've been around the church so much, they don't even know how to talk to regular people. I still know how to talk to regular people. It don't matter how Christian I am or how churchy I am or whatever the heck I done been through in life, I'm still a regular human being with feelings and emotions. You just can't talk to anybody when you talk to people. Had this one idiot gonna come up to me, sitting there talking about, be careful, honey, they're gonna rob your car. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, shut up. Shut up. Like, stop talking to me. Like, stop talking to me. Leave me alone. But of course, with them, there's something spiritual going on. Ain't nothing spiritual going on with me. I don't like you. And I'm trying to find the nicest way to say I don't like you. But I haven't come up with it yet. That's all it really was. So I'm about like 2-3 days in. Everything is chill. The third day was like kind of like hectic. Nothing crazy though. But there was this one dude, he just got on my nerves, man. He just didn't understand black folk. So you already knew it was a red flag. This one dude, he said, we have 50% white people. We have 50% black people. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Why do you need to say that out loud? So I'm just like, that's weird. Why would he say that out loud? Anybody catch that? And I guess that's just what happens when you in these churches. Like, they just have you conditioned, I guess, just to believe that this is okay. And I'm like, well, this is just kind of weird. I don't know why you got to tell me that you have 50% black people and 50% white people. This is kind of weird, but this is what's going on in my head. Like, I don't even know how to really say it out loud because I'm so caught off guard. I'm so caught off guard. I'm like, what is going on? Am I in the Twilight Zone? Am I in the Twilight Zone or something? This is weird. But anyway, we go out to, evangelize the people, aka we like the doggone goofy looking Mormons that you see in front of Aldi's or a supermarket or at the mall, or so if you just in the hood just trying to mind your business. These people, we like these people. We go and say, hey, do you know who Jesus is? Do you know who Jesus is? He can save your life, brother. And I'm like, this is so goofy. And I knew it wasn't going to work out. Mind you, it didn't work out. Let's park right here and give you a lesson. Sometimes older people don't have any wisdom. Sometimes older people don't know what the heck they talking about. What I realized is this. I told the guys, I said, hey, it would have been better if we would have just had like an event for these people to go to, because you can't just tell them about Jesus and then not give them a next step. He proceeded just to argue with me and whine and complain and moan, and then try to throw a shot at me and all the other young guys and say, well, you know, these women are outdoing you guys. What's wrong with you guys? I'm like, first of all, if you would use your common sense and logic, we're in the hood with black and brown men. They're talking to these girls, and the truth is this, they are sexually aroused by them. They ain't thinking nothing about the gospel. They thinking about how to get in their drawers. I'm just keeping it a bean. All right, I'm going to keep it a bean. I'm not stupid. All because I'm Christian, that doesn't mean I'm stupid. I just was like, wow. And what I realized was this. I just realized I got so tired of Christianity. I got so tired of people. And I was just like, you know what? I did the best I could here. This is obviously just not for me. Let me just chill out. Let me just go get myself together and let me just calm down. So I know when I'm in a mood, let me just calm myself down. Now let me give you part 4. Hey, I believe this is part 5. I'm not keeping track, but it is what it is. Anyway, I get back to, we were staying at a church at the time. I get preceded by the youth pastor, who's my former friend. Heavy on former, because I do not mess with him no more. He's weird, his family's weird, and I want nothing to do with those people. I forgive them for what they did, but I can forgive you and love you from afar. We got to normalize that. Anyway, back to my story. He says that I'm going through something spiritual. Not demonic, but spiritual. So I just go off. I spaz on him. I spaz on him. I tell him, man, I'm done with you. I'm done with this church. I'm done with all this stuff. I'm done. I'm not disrespecting nobody. I'm tired of you and I'm tired of this church. I don't even remember everything I said verbatim. But you know when you just get pissed off, and if you like me and you got a bad habit of bottling things up, you just be saying anything when you pissed off. Now, like I said, what I did was wrong. So I want to let you know. What I did was wrong. I could have handled it differently. I'm laughing now because I ain't in the situation no more. And I'm at a better church now that's not so legalistic and actually understands that, like, you know, people go through things in life. You know what I'm saying? Not everything is so spiritual. But like I said, from their perspective, they were rich, conservative, and Pentecostal. So, like, I guess with them, like, rules just don't apply to them. They have, like, their own little echo chamber. And I don't know if y'all ever read that book, The Giver, but that's kind of what it was giving me. It was giving me vibes of The Giver, you know, just your own little utopia. And I think that's just what they want. They wanted their own little utopia, and it was either you get in or you fit in. I've come to learn to respect it. Not like it, but I've come to learn to respect it. So to wrap up this story, right, here's what I've learned to take away from it. Not everything is spiritual. If your friend is calling you to go to a ministry, you don't have to go. And also, lastly, but most importantly, you're allowed to tell people no. You're allowed to tell people no. I'm not bashing Christianity. I'm not even bashing religion. I'm just here to say this, man. I only follow what God wants me to do. And if I don't want to do something, I tell people I don't want to do it. I've normalized being very direct with people. I normalized blocking religious people. I've normalized just not going back and forth with people just to be petty for the sake of being petty. I've normalized that deep down inside, sometimes in life, it's just not that deep. And I normalized that you could just have a relationship with Christ and keep it just like that. But most importantly, to end this story, I have learned that I am just a Christian and I'm non-denominational, and there's nothing wrong with that. I don't owe anybody anything. I'm allowed to make mistakes. Not everything is the devil. Not everything is so spiritual, and just most importantly, if you just do your best, you'll be fine. Yes, we've all fall short. It says it in the book of Romans, but it also says in the book of Proverbs, the righteous falleth, but get back up again. Okay? Sometimes in life, I think that us as Christians or people who are non-Christians or whatever it is that you believe in, I really do think that sometimes in life we just need to pause and just reevaluate everything that's going on.